Is an upcoming illustrator as well as entrepreneur. His gift for drawing is showcased in the comic book The Museum of Life. The goal is for this comic book series is to reach out to the youth that can be easily persuaded, if not guided correctly, to follow the wrong path. With us today is the creator of The Museum of Life, Wayne Gathers. It's a pleasure having you on the program. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Tell me all about The Museum of Life. What inspired you to become involved in this project?
Well, basically, it's about observation, things that you hear in life, things that you see, or things that you personally experience. And so my motivation is to express that on paper and to leave an impression, to cause people to have to really think about what it is that they're doing in life or want to do. And of course, to create a little sense of humor.
Mm-hmm. So, but you're with this book, and we should say that the Museum of Life is a book of your illustrations. I have it right here. We're going to refer to a few of these illustrations in a minute. But it's aimed at the youth, right? Basically, you want to teach the youth a lesson?
Oh yeah, I believe it touches on all people of all ages. But as you said, it's really to concentrate on the youth. Again, because the youth is often neglected, and sometimes they need a little guidance, and so that's what this book is about.
Mm-hmm. So tell me some of the things, some of the issues that you deal with in this book, and how is it that you addressed the youth?
Well, of course, we were all, part of the youth once upon a time, especially the teenage years. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes, teenagers run into things that are incidental, that are bound to happen. You have peer pressure in one form or another, and then you just have the wild and exciting times of being young. You tend to make mistakes. And so again, it's to guide the youth. Things that we do, the things that we see, give them a sense of direction, basically.
But do you tell, is the mission of the book to illustrate what a role model is, or to show what's right and wrong?
Not so much as a role model, but it's a message. I mean, there's so much negativity that we see through the media. And although my art predicts the real life of what the youth experience, it's also a positive view. Things don't always have to be negative, but it can be positive, and it can be in a way that inspires the youth.
Mm. But do you think that the youth lacks role models nowadays?
Oh, definitely, definitely. And of course, it starts with the parents. Parents are the first role models, and then obviously that trickles down to the teachers and whatnot.
But do you draw about that subject, about the positive role models? Are some of your illustrations about inspiring the youth to be positive about life?
Well, in fact...
Or is it more like a warning, don't do this, don't go there?
No. Well, that's one part of it. And then there's also another aspect of it, as far as motivation and inspiration. In fact, as you look in one of the books, there's a drawing that pretty much talks about the things that the young people see. In fact, in one of the pictures, it says one can either go under the gun or they can rise above it. And so in that drawing, you have a young teen pretty much standing on the top of books, and they're dressed in their cap and gown. And so basically, it's like telling the youth, look, there are many other positive young people that are doing right. You don't always have to be negative or go in the wrong direction just because life is often common. Mm. And they often tell the youth that, okay, this is all you're going to be, and so there's no choice.
Or that there are shortcuts to making an easy living, through drugs or through this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Instead of like through studies and the books, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so again, it's to inspire the youth. Whatever dreams that you have, whatever goals that you aspire to, you can achieve them. It all starts in believing in yourself and, of course, having a good, strong supporting cast.
So tell me about this book. Who is seeing it? Who gets to see it? Who is it aimed at? What age group are you aiming at? At all ages or kids?
All ages, but particularly the teenage crowd and the young adults.
Yeah, like I'm looking at an illustration here that's called Metamorphosis. What is happening to our youth? And you have one. The illustration is of a girl, very well dressed, apparently in prep school, and then the guy next to her with the pants below the waist and very much dressed like a hip hop artist. What are you trying to say there?
Actually, that's the same person. But obviously it confused you, as many people would be confused.
I see now. I see. It is the same person and two images of the same face.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you notice, it says...
So when you say metamorphosis, it's because this person has undergone a metamorphosis.
They have undergone a change. And
Yes.
you wonder, girls are not looking like girls anymore. I mean, they start out in prep school or in the elementary years, and they dress with their uniform, and they look like young girls. But when you get into the teenage years, there's a complete change, and you wonder.
So in a way, you're being critical of what's happening or the way they dressed in their teenage years.
And at the same time, to reach them, because obviously there is some confusion. So it's not about being critical or criticizing them. But again, when you find a teen like that, when you can look back on their pictures and say, wow, is this really the same person? Obviously, they're confused.
The illustration right next to it, on the page right next to it, I'm looking at page 17 and now page 16, name tags. This is very, very powerful. Can you identify your sons? And basically what people are seeing in this illustration is just the bottom of a bunch of feet. Dead bodies identified, correct? These are the way that bodies are tagged.
Yes.
On their toes. And so you say, can you identify your sons? What are you trying to say to parents?
Well, it often goes back to an experience that I had. My mother used to work in a hospital for over 20-something years. And she said, especially in the summertime, because the summertime is like a killing season for young people. She said, one youth after another, gunshot wound or stabbings. And, particularly when young kids are out of school, there's room to get into trouble. And sometimes parents who are often neglectful to their children, it's a sad thing that the only time that they notice them is in the morgue.
And since we're talking about parents, here's another illustration about parents when the parents are at home and when the parents are away. And when the parents are at home, they're behaving, they're actually, leaning on each other. It looks like they're sitting down in the living room watching TV. But when the parents are away, they're punching each other out.
Yeah, that's just pretty much childhood memories. Anybody that has ever had brothers and sisters, naturally, growing up, you're going to fight your brother and sister. They took your favorite toy, or perhaps they went into your room and played with your things and they were not supposed to. So that's just part of growing up, sibling rivalries.
The glory of violence through the eyes of the youth. And here you have youth considering holding guns, learning how to aim a gun. Is there a problem that we as a society need to be dealing with in terms of youth glorifying violence?
Yeah, and often, and I don't want to blame movies per se, although it does play a part, but the youth are often inspired by what they see through television, which is a powerful media and reaching children. And so to be acceptable or to be popular or to be a part of the in crowd is to project and portray that image, which again, it doesn't always have to be the case. I mean, how do you define a man? Is defining a man the way he, if he's holding a gun, or the way he wears his pants, the way he walks? Is that how you define a man?
Or is it the way he feeds his family and pays the bills?
Yeah, it could be that.
Yeah. Now, tell me about deadbeat men, because you have a woman here carrying a whole lot of bricks.
Yeah.
Kids, mortgage, debt, a heavy load, it says in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And, what are you trying to say there?
There's a lot of single-parent homes. And for centuries, women have been carrying the weight of the family. They have been playing two roles. And today that hasn't changed. In fact, it's gotten worse. Sad to say, women are the backbone of many families. And, it's a sad thing. And I guess that was personal to me in the sense that, there's so many people that I grew up with, and most of them didn't have a father. And it bothers me pretty much. When fathers, you can make babies, but then you don't want to support the weight of what a man's supposed to do. And so when you find a lot of women by themselves pretty much holding up the weight of a family, it brings a lot of stress. But yet they have the strength. It's like climbing up that mountain. They have a strength and they keep on going. They never give up.
What is the reaction you get from people once they look at your illustrations and they see the messages that you're conveying? What are they saying to you?
They say, wow,
It makes it, I'm telling you, you've made me think. I can tell you this right now. My own personal reaction is I look at this illustration and I go, oh my God, this is all in one page, a very strong message. So basically each page is a different message, right?
Yeah. It's almost like every page is like front and center. And I try to create a little humor in it too.
Yeah, of course.
And sometimes I guess, it gets lost a little bit because what they see is, the image of what I'm trying to portray. We all know that pictures say 1,000 words and then some.
Are there enough artists doing what you're doing? Because you're dealing with society's problems in your art. Do we need more of that?
Oh, yes. And we need more companies to back and support that type of art. But for some reason, people have a different reality. And when you touch on something that's just front center, and because I don't live that reality, it's like, well, maybe I'm not too comfortable looking at that. And they tend to easily overlook it.
See, I'm thinking in terms, I'm a newspaperman my whole life. And so I'm looking in terms of newspaper cartoonists. And what they do is they make commentaries about politics most of the time.
Yeah.
You're making a different commentary here. This is social commentary. This is about the real thing. This is about the things that happen in our block every day, about life.
Yeah.
And so where is the showcase for this? Because it should be out there. It should be in the post on the daily news, as far as I'm concerned. People should be seeing this. Why isn't it there? Why is it hard for people like you to get exposure?
Well, again, because I think sometimes when you touch on the realities of life, you may step on a lot of toes. And so it's easy, and I'm not taking anything away from the comedy. We all need a sense of humor, even in realism. The things that we create, the things that we draw, we all need a sense of humor. But at the same time, we all need to tell the truth in that sense of humor. And this can sometimes frighten people. It's almost like looking in the mirror of life the way it is and say, hold on, it's not all roses. It's not all picket fences. And
sometimes I don't like what I see in the mirror.
Yeah.
Because some people, come to a self-realization of, hey, I have to straighten out my life after these warnings that you give me. The hands of many choices. Here you have a deck of cards.
Oh, yeah.
Different people in different roles. A cop, a basketball player, a doctor. What is the message? What are you trying to do here?
Well, the hand of many choices. Life can be like a spider's web, and there's so much negativity. But then again, there's also positive choices in life. You don't always have to get caught up in the things that are commonplace. There's nothing wrong with hanging out with people of your peers, but it doesn't always have to be just standing on the corner hanging out. smoking and not doing anything else. Or it doesn't always have to be getting girls pregnant. It can be other things. And also it's like a way out for people. Sports such as basketball has become a way out. Such as rap has become a way out. And that's what you see in some of those deck of cards. And so again, we have a choice. We don't have to always go the route that is commonplace. We can also choose a road that may not be as popular. But again, it's a safe road.
Again, there's a multitude of issues that you deal with, and most of them, from what I see here, affecting the youth. And very, very impressive, friend or foe, where you're dealing with cameras, right? I mean, watchful eyes, you call it. And watchful eyes, you're referring to the fact that sometimes it might not be so good that we have so many cameras looking at us. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, not necessarily, but we once heard the expression that the streets are always watching. There are people that always watch you, even when you don't think they're watching you. And sometimes it can be with an evil intent. And so we have to be aware. Even when we are with our family, we have to be aware.
Where can people get your book?
They can get it online through Zalibris, a publishing company. In fact, I have some business cards that pretty much can direct people to that channel.
Okay, but tell me, online, is there a web address or a place where people can locate your book? Is there a web address that you can give us?
Yes. Again, it's through Zalibris, www.zalibris.com.
Okay, and they'll be able to find your book?
Yeah, they'll be able to find it. They can just type in Museum of Life. And of course, all of that is depicted on the business card and the bookmarkers and also the postcards. It's
How long has the book been out?
Self-explanatory. Since late last year, but at the same time, it's a process.
Are you is this part of a series? Are you going to go on with other books in this series? Is Museum of Life growing?
Yeah. In fact, hopefully I can get it into the newspapers. There was a person that I talked to, a representative from Zalibris, and he thought it would be a good idea to start me out as a freelance for a particular company. Now, I've never did that before, so I'm excited about it. And of course, I got other ideas of how I want to expand the book. Now, I was thinking in terms of a cartoon series. I have characters pretty much that pretty much depict the book.
So how do you get your ideas?
Observation, sometimes conversations that you have with people, which I find is the best way that you can get ideas. Just sit back and listen to people talk. And that's where you get your ideas from.
Well, listen, it's been a pleasure having you on the program. Thank you for being here. It's a wonderful book. I strongly recommend that the youth, especially the youth, the parents who are watching at home, get this for your kids and have them read not read because there's so much reading involved, but look at these illustrations and read the message that's in them, because they're wonderful, very, very strong warnings about what they should be doing about their lives to go the right way in life. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you for having me.